you sports fans up there, and welcome to the Nazi Sports Talk, Season 5, Episode 3. And we are here with former Detroit Tiger outfielder, Mr. Andy Dirks. Andy, thanks for coming on with us today.
Absolutely, guys. I'm excited about this one.
Thank you so much for being here. So let's get started. So, Andy, I'll get things started. Where did you go to high school, and did you play any other sports besides baseball in high school?
Yeah, I'm from a little town, and it's Haven, Kansas. I don't know, 1,200 people, and I grew up about 8 miles outside of that town on a dirt road. So small town Kansas, you play them all. Football, basketball, baseball is what we had. Hockey is new to me because I live in Michigan now. So my son, I don't know who's going to train him up in hockey. I got 2 sons. We'll see. But a small town kid from Kansas made it to the big leagues. It's a pretty neat experience.
That's really cool to hear. So after high school, attending in Kansas, you attended Hutchinson Community College before transferring to Wichita State University as a junior. Did you get any offers from any other schools? And if you did, what were those schools, and what made you choose Wichita State overall?
Yeah, so when I went into junior college, Wichita State wanted me to a point, but I didn't want to redshirt. I wanted to play, and I was very raw. So, I had some physical ability. But in high school, we didn't play a lot of games. I wasn't on select teams. I wasn't like the cherry-picked, been on all the great teams and done everything for the scouts to see you. So once I was pretty much going through Hutch JUCO, was doing well, I signed quickly with Wichita State, committed as before my sophomore year even. And Wichita is close. It's close to my hometown. It's 45 minutes. My parents can watch the games, family, friends, and a couple other buddies who were at Hutch JUCO went to Wichita State as well because we had a really good squad at my community college. A guy went to Nebraska, and actually Thad Weber, who played in the big leagues with the Tigers very briefly, was on the same junior college team as me, which was cool. But yeah, it was kind of a tight-knit family, and Wichita State was a no-brainer for me. Their program there was awesome. It was more like pro ball. It wasn't so, cut and dry, just copy and paste. Catchers called their own games at Wichita State. It was more of a pro-style squad, which benefited me when I got drafted by the Tigers. I didn't need, people to cater to me. I could just make my own way.
Very interesting to hear because, around here, we have the Jimmy John's Field and the USPBL around here with those guys playing in that league and playing small ball professionally. It's kind of like you said, setting up for college. Or like what Wichita State had for you. So it's kind of like what those players are experiencing over there, if only they were open due to everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So as a junior at Wichita State, you batted .320, had 31 RBIs, 19 steals to earn you a spot in the Missouri Conference All-Star Game. Tell us about your experience playing in your conference's All-Star Game.
They did. So basically that was they didn't actually have a game. It was actually just the All-Star squad is what they called it for the Missouri Valley tournament. So I had a good tournament. When I was a junior, I got hurt fairly early in the season, which got the scouts on me. And we had scout day, right? So all the scouts come and visit you. And I wasn't really a prospect at the time, but I was later on, they would find out I'm a pretty good baseball player. But a Philly scout came in and he said, "Hey, Andy, what would you sign for?" And I said, "Well, what would I sign for? $1 million." What's a junior in college going to say? And then I think they all took it as he won't sign for anything less than $1 million, so nobody drafted me. And I didn't have a great year. I had a decent year, but nothing great. So that was it was always watch your mouth; it'll get you in trouble. But it all worked out really well, and I was appreciative of the Tigers who really, when they drafted me in the 8th round as a senior, I was excited. I was very excited. It ended up being a great fit for me.
So yeah, as you just said, you were drafted by the Tigers in the 8th round of 2008 draft. Where were you when you got the call knowing that you were going to be a Detroit Tiger?
We were actually on a bus because the first day of the draft's the first 5 rounds then, or first 3. It was either the first 3 or the first 5. We were in a super regional against Florida State at the time when the draft was going on. So Connor Gillespie, one of my good friends, got drafted by the Giants. I think it was the Giants in the first round, supplemental first rounder. And then we were headed to the field, I think, for game 2. And they said, "Hey, Dirks, congratulations. You got drafted in the 8th round." But then I had to go play baseball. I was super pumped, though, right? It was either third game. I couldn't remember. But we ended up losing the super regional when, got over to Lakeland and started my professional career.
Yeah, like you said. So, like, you drafted in the 8th round, obviously a huge honor. But then going to play, in the college playoffs, which is a huge thing every season that comes around. So going from getting drafted to playing in your college playoff game, it's definitely definitely something that got you pumped up, like you said. So you started out, like you said, went to Lakeland to start your professional career, but you spent some time with the West Michigan Whitecaps, Gulf Coast League Tigers to get your career started in 2010. Then got called up to the Erie Seawolves, which is the Tigers AA team, and then the Toledo Mud Hens, which is the Tigers AAA team. Tell us what the atmospheres were like playing for all the former league teams of the Tigers.
Well, West Michigan, the Whitecaps have pretty much, them and Toledo have the best two followings. They're regional, they're close to Detroit. Lakeland, the Florida State League's a very strange league because it's all bus travel. There's no hotels. It's hot. I was fortunate enough to do really good early on. So I spent about a month there, month and a half, and they sent me to AA. And I was older, I was a senior sign, so they pushed me along. And as long as I was performing, and obviously people above me, injuries occur. I think Casper Wells broke his hamate bone, and that got me to AA. And then when I got called up to the big leagues from AAA, it's when Maglio slid into home and broke his ankle. So where injuries occur, it's opportunities for other people to come in and kind of establish a name, and you have to be ready for that, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, definitely West Michigan and Toledo, best two atmospheres in the minors. Go check those stadiums out. Erie was I spent a lot of time there, but I don't even know if they're going to have a team. I think they're talking about getting rid of Erie.
Wow, that's I wonder what type of team that the Tigers will try and find a AA team for.
Yeah, let's see what city they go to, and they might stay in Erie. I'm not sure. They're all contracts,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's how it's a business, right? That's how it works.
That's right.
So you also spent some time down in the Dominican Republic in the winters of 2010 and 11. Tell us what that experience was playing for those teams down in the Dominican Republic in the winter.
Yeah, I really embraced it because we're foreign players there, right? So when I go down there, I'm a foreign player. And before I went in the minor leagues, you don't make a lot of money. Like when I was there, if you're not on the 40-man, still to this day, you're not making a livable wage, right? So when I went there, they were going to pay me $9,000 a month to play baseball. And at the time, that $9,000 a month, I'm like, $9,000? Yep. I'm like, where do I sign? I'm in. I'm going. Because a lot of guys go to the Arizona Fall League, kind of the prospects, right? I didn't want to do the Fall League. And it's kind of an invite only, and I wasn't that good. I wasn't really on that radar. I wasn't the top prospects and this and that. But the Dominican came up, and they said $9,000 a month. I said, play baseball, get better. I'm in, and it was the best experience. I actually won 2 championships there, and the people there are crazy about baseball. They're insane about baseball. It's baseball on the radio. I'm Gringo Loco there, and I was country boy from Kansas, chaw tobacco, and I was kind of a character to them, and they embraced it and they loved it. And I played pretty well. And did it one year, then came back and did it the next year, and it was an amazing experience. You're living in a different culture. You learn a lot about different culture. You also learn the way they play baseball, which helped me. They have a more laid back mentality to the game as opposed to American players. American players were very strict by the book type of player. Dominicans more flair, a little more soccer influence, Latin influence to the game. So it kind of morphed my anxieties and helped me. It really did. It's like tu sabe is what they'd say. It's like, don't worry about it, man. Chill out. Like, relax. As opposed to, that's kind of how Americans are about everything. They were more laid back. Time wasn't as big a deal. Go out and play your game. And it was a good experience.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that was definitely a culture shock that you'll never forget. Just that experience in general sounded amazing for you.
When we won, I think the first one we won, they rushed the field, and they were so happy. My parents were watching the game. They were worried. I mean, thousands of people rushing the field, and they're lifting you up. And then in the second year, I hit the game-winning hit for the whole championship series. base hit up the middle to win. It's a 9-game series. It was game 9. We're tied. Base hit up the middle, wins it all. They go nuts. It was pretty cool. But they called me a rock star down there. People love me. So
wow,
That's just really amazing to hear.
Yeah, just hearing a nine-game series as well. Wow, that's
that's wild.
Definitely kind of different down there compared to up here when max is 7. So
yep.
So after playing those winters in Dominican Republic, you get called up to the Tigers May 13th, 2011. And in your debut game against Toronto, you had your first career hit with your parents watching in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
How nervous were you, like, in the on-deck circle and then going to the batter's box and that whole experience? And also, were you able to get that baseball after?
Yeah, I have the baseball. But when your first game, the first few innings are just – it's out of body. Your body's moving, but you're not controlling it. It's very numb. And it's just surreal, right? The whole atmosphere, the whole thing, a big league stadium is crazy when you're playing compared to minor leagues, compared to anything I'd done. But my first at bat, I walked, which was good. And the guy I was facing was Kyle Drabeck, who was the only guy up to that point, I think maybe ever, that struck me out three times in 3 consecutive bats as a starting pitcher in Double-A. He did that. So in 2000, it was 10, I think. He struck me out, just fastballs, blew him by me, fastballs. So I was like, oh, great, Drabeck's pitching. The only guy that struck me out 3 times. So he walked me the first one, I think, then I popped out. And then my third at bat, I got a hit. Super excited. A little chop job between third base and shortstop, but who cares? A hit. My name's in the books. My name, it's done. I got my hit. So what I forgot was Drabeck had a good pickoff move. So I'm just like on cloud 9 over there. And I take my lead, and he picks me off. So I got my first hit. I'm super excited. And then I'm like, oh, and I'm a good base runner. I'm a fundamentals guy. So I go back to the dugout, and I'm like, Skip had already planned to take me out of the game because we had the lead. And at the time, he didn't quite know me. He doesn't know everything about me. And he brought in a defensive replacement, which looking back is kind of funny. So he put Donnie Kelly in the game because we had the lead. And he just, first we're up by 1 run, I think. And I think he said, hey, good hitting out there, but that is terrible base running, Dirks. Go sit down. And I'm like, oh, am I out of the game because of base running? And he's like, oh, and he told me later, I was planning on taking you out. Good job today, after we won the game or whatever. But it's just the highs and lows of the game,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And a few days later, about 10 or 11 so days later, you would hit your first home run against Tampa Bay at Comerica Park. As soon as your bat made contact with the ball, did you know instantly that it was gone?
I'm not much of a home run hitter. So every time I hit a ball, I know if I got it good. And I knew I hit it good. And being a left-handed hitter, I'm running. It was a home run to right field. So I just naturally sprint out of the box. It's just something, my body's trained to do over time. So I take off sprinting, and I'm like, oh, I think I got it. And then I knew I got it, and then start to trot. What's funny is because Jeremy Hellickson's the guy I hit it off of, he's got a really good changeup. He's a fastball changeup guy, which you don't see as much anymore, but his changeup was really on point, and that's a pitch I always struggled with. And I hit it out on the changeup. I kind of I knew he had it, so I was trying to hit the ball to left field. And what's funny is people think major league hitters are these, wild, we know what's coming. Until I saw the radar gun at like 82, I couldn't have told you if that was a fastball or a changeup. It just happened to work out with the approach I was using to get him. And it was cool though to hit a home run in a big league stadium. It was like, okay, now I'm starting to establish myself. People can see a little bit of what we can do here.
Yeah, I mean, it probably helps that all the Tiger faithful probably helped you realize that it was gone. Getting closer and closer to them in right field.
Yep.
About that bell.
I think it hit the bell tire. The bell tire guy didn't like me. I met him at a golf course in an event, and he was the guy because they used to give a free set of tires away if a Tiger player hits the bell tire.
Right.
And I was the only guy. I hit it like 3 times in one season. It was just where my stroke was and everything. He said,
being left-handed, goes right into right
you
field.
need to quit hitting the bell tire. And he's got it serious. I'm like, I can't help it. He said, you're costing me tires.
You can't help it if I'm hitting home runs.
I can't. I mean, I'm not going to stop doing that.
So, Mr. Dirks, to cap off that 2011 season, you guys would make the postseason and win Detroit's first AL Central title since joining the division. Tell us, what was the clubhouse like when you guys clinched the division title?
Oh, it's always great. Anytime you're winning, you have the party, you celebrate. But those teams I was on, we were expected to win the World Series. So it wasn't like we were an underdog squad who happened to make it to the playoffs, right? We were stacked. You look at that lineup and those pitching staffs, Mr. Illich dumped a ton of dough to try to win before he passed away. And so it was like, awesome. We accomplished what we should accomplish, right? Yeah. So there's a little bit of, okay, we won, but we need to get to the next one now.
Yeah, absolutely. So now before we keep going in your Tiger career, we're gonna do what we always do with all of our guests. We do the rapid fire 7, which is 7 questions, just totally random off the top of your head, just to get to know you a little bit better, Andy. So I'll start off. What is your favorite ballpark food?
Hot dog, absolutely.
Solid answer.
With everything on it?
Yeah, hot dog with sauerkraut, mustard, relish, everything. Ketchup. Yeah. I do ketchup, mustard. I don't care. Throw it all on there. The chopped onions. That makes me happy.
That's jalapenos. Especially this week, with this week being the 4th. So
absolutely.
Oh yeah. So next for you, who was your favorite baseball player growing up?
I like Sammy Sosa because the Cubs used to be on WGN, and I would go to my friend's house and we would watch Cubs games because they were during the middle of the day. And we'd watch Sammy, and it was during the home run race, and we had Triple Play 99 was out. Sammy was on the cover. Yeah, I liked Sammy, and he sprinted out to his position, and the whole thing. It was awesome.
All right, favorite Major League Baseball city to visit?
Well, there's some good ones. I liked Minneapolis, but now I don't know. It's not the same Minneapolis as it was. I like Target Field, though. I really liked Target Field. I liked hitting there. The people there were outstanding at the stadium. That was probably my favorite place to play, other than Comerica.
Yeah, especially a division opponent. You got to play there quite a bit.
That's right.
Yeah. So during quarantine, have you been able to binge watch anything?
I don't binge watch. I don't watch a lot of TV, to be honest. I have 4 little kids, and I work. So basically my time spent with the kids or working, right? It's I don't know. And I used to watch, like when I played, you watch all the shows, the Breaking Bads and all those. But really in the hotel rooms, what I would watch was like Discovery Channel, History Channel, and that's pretty much it.
Interesting.
Kind of boring. Cool. I'm just not a TV guy.
No, I mean they got some good programs on there. I watch some of those frequently as well. So, and you just brought up in that last question. What is your favorite thing to do with your kids?
Right now, my son's into building, so he's 5 or 4. So they're all little, right? So we like to go to the splash pad. We'll go out in the yard and they'll run around, and he'll get his little hammer out, hit stuff. And I have 2 girls and another little baby. But a lot of it is just digging in the dirt, little kid stuff. We're not into he's hit off the tee a little bit. Baseball and his coordination level is lower than you would expect a baseball player to be. But whatever he's into, that's kind of what I'm into right now.
Yeah, like you said,
awesome.
trying to figure out how to train him for hockey, but especially being up in Michigan now.
Yeah.
So
maybe whatever he's into, that's what we'll go after. And so it might be architecture. That's fine.
Yeah, hey, good. It's a good profession that's going to be native people in the next couple of years. So that's good.
It's a lot easier on your body.
Yeah, being a hockey player. Yeah,
hockey's pretty rough on your body.
And definitely starting them out young too, getting them used to it, and then maybe in the future they'll tend to like it even more.
Of course.
So next question now involves minor leagues. What was the strangest theme or theme night that you've seen in the minor leagues?
Oh man, they had some crazy ones. They'd always have there's this crew of guys that's like, they put on these skits and they eat the person. Those were fun. And then watching the dog. I love the dog night when the dog would go pick up the bats. Yeah, so the dog would be the bat boy for the night. He'd run out and pick up the bats, and your bat would have slobber on it. And you're like, hey, where's the slobber about? It's a dog. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's what they have over in the USPBL and Jimmy John's Field. And
Yep. Promotion nights.
JJ the bat boy, the bat dog. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to hear. And finally, out of this rapid fire 7, who is the biggest prankster or the jokester in the Tigers clubhouse?
The funniest guy was Austin Jackson for sure. He
Really?
was the funniest. Verlander was always trying to be the prank guy, and his pranks were always blah. He thought they were funny. He wanted to be the prankster, but Scherzer had some good pranks, the hot foot and all those, the kind of the standard issue. But the funniest guy was Austin Jackson. He could get the whole clubhouse rolling. He impersonating people and whatever it was. He was funny.
Because I always thought that Miggy would be a top of the line prankster, but
Miggy's the sneaky prankster who does little tiny things constantly. There's nothing ever huge. It's like, what is this in my locker? What is this? Poppy. And he'd be laughing, and he'd have some picture of you with a mustache on it. Your baseball card with a mustache.
just
but
Jokes
awesome.
that he would love.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. What he finds funny, you may find not too funny, but it just makes his entire day. So you're just like, oh yeah, that's funny.
Yep. They're all. Our clubhouse was good though. We had a lot of great guys.
Oh, it definitely sounds like that. That's awesome to hear. But so that was the end of our rapid fire 7. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So now to continue on with some Tigers questions. In 2012, you guys would go on to win the AL pennant to advance to the World Series. So tell us what were the atmosphere like in Detroit and San Francisco for the World Series?
The World Series was kind of – because the problem was we swept the Yankees, so we won in 4 straight games. They went on to play the Cardinals in a crazy 7-game series, and we were practicing in Detroit, in Comerica, with no fans or anything. It was just dead, right, in the practices. So then when it ramped up for the World Series the World Series atmosphere is a little different because I think ticket prices are so high or something. You don't get your normal, all your normal following out. You get, the kind of the rowdy, there's less rowdiness involved, and it's more just kind of, hey, who's going to the game? We're going, and it's a lot of more background noise than it is like cheering. Detroit is good about, the baseball fans. If we're in the game and doing well, they're very loud. If we're not, they're pretty quiet. That's Detroit. The craziest in San Francisco, they were kind of the same. It's just kind of a world. They were kicking our butts, so they were all happy, right, when we were there. So it was pretty loud against us. But the craziest place we played was Oakland.
Okay, yeah,
or playoffs.
They play the
Raiders fans, man. The Raiders fans come out, and it was loud from start to finish. It was crazy.
I can imagine. Raiders and A's fans in the old Coliseum. It's unfortunate now that the Raiders are now in Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see where the A's are going to go in the future. So, but that's definitely interesting to hear, especially with the San Francisco fans. And you guys are right by the water. Outside the stadium. I watched that World Series when I was a young 12-year-old kid, and just seeing some home runs going into the bay was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah.
So now, unfortunately, like you said, San Francisco ended up winning that series, but that team is still the most recent Tiger team to make a World Series. So when you guys won the AL pennant, did you keep any memorabilia like bottles, champagne, and did you guys get like rings or anything to commemorate you guys winning the 2012 AL pennant?
Yeah, we have I got like a signed bottle of Dom Perignon by all the guys, bat signed by some of the guys, but I'm not a big memorabilia guy. I actually just gave a lot of it away. And, I got gloves and cards and hats and shirts and, all that kind of stuff in totes in my basement. But, and we got a ring. The ring is huge and it's crazy. Mr. I, hey, do you got a quick second? I'll run and get it. You want to see it or no?
Yeah,
for sure. All right, so as Andy gets his ring, this gives us time. So please make sure to follow us on all of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And we're going to be trying to start up on a IGTV, on our series on IGTV. So please tune into that as well. And other than that, all right,
I'm back. So here it is. It's the big
wow.
D diamonds.
That's awesome.
all around
That
it.
is
It says
that
my
is
name on there with
fantastic.
Guy
diamonds.
name engraved. Ooh.
That is fantastic. Oh
Says
my
Tigers,
gosh.
2012.
2012.
Yeah, you're gonna hold on to that puppy, aren't you?
Yeah, probably. I mean, my kids will get it, and then they'll probably sell it.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, man.
yeah, I wouldn't. If I were you, I wouldn't let anybody touch that thing. I'd let that thing increase in value over
Wow.
time. So, Andy, a couple more questions for you. So now you played alongside, like you said, you played with Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Prince Fielder, Miggy, Johnny Peralta, Maglio, Torrey Hunter, all those other guys, Don Kelly, Omar Infante. Tell us what was like behind the scenes with those guys. Like, did you guys go out to dinners often? Did you guys hang out at each other's houses? I mean, how close were you guys?
Yeah, there was always any team. There's kind of guys that gravitate towards each other, right? So you have different groups of players that hang out a little bit more than others. But we'd go out to team dinners, and then Verlander or Prince or Miggy or somebody, one of the guys who was making the most money would pick up the tab, which was always nice. Get a nice steak, big steak at a nice steakhouse. But as far as it was pretty professional, it's different, than when you're in college or when you're in even the minor leagues because everybody's got families. A lot of these guys have a wife, they have kids, they have obligations. So, you go to the field after the game, they go home to their family. And then when you go on the road, that's when you'd go out to a nice dinner. If you had an off day, a couple guys might rent a boat or something and go out on the water for a little bit. But that was very rare. We don't have a lot of off days. But most of the time, it's just kind of like adults hanging out, right? That's the difference because I came in the minor leagues. You got a bunch of college age guys. Most of us maybe have a girlfriend or single. You go out at night and you have fun and you do this stuff. But in the big leagues, those days are gone too. With cell phones and pictures, and you just got to watch what you're doing. You got to be a little bit smarter than. It's not just like it was back in the 70s and 80s. Where they could do whatever they wanted, and you hear the story about, oh yeah, so and so they're hanging out with us until 3 a.m, and then they went and played the next day. There's not as much of that now, right?
No.
Just because guys, you just can't do that because it'd be all over TMZ and everything the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely what you said. Yeah, just make sure you watch what you're doing, make sure you follow the rules, and yeah, you'll be solid. Got life lessons right here.
Yeah, because now with these cell phones and cameras, man, they'll get you. And once they got a picture of you, it's there forever.
Oh, for sure.
It is what it is. A lot of times with the younger guys too, it's kind of sad because some of them, they get the amount of money you can make in sports now is getting so ridiculous that it kind of takes away from some of the guys' experience, I think, because they get so thoughtful of the money. And, if I perform X, I can get Y, as opposed to enjoying the experience of playing Major League Baseball. Like for you guys, if tomorrow somebody said, hey, you're going to suit up on a big league roster in a big league uniform, you would be like, this is sweet, regardless of the outcome, right?
Yeah.
That gets,
I would for
it
sure.
gets kind of stripped away because of the money. So I always encourage the younger guys to go play. Enjoy your teammates. Enjoy the camaraderie. Enjoy the game. Learn the game. Play well. And the money, just let that be a byproduct. If it ever comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it's a lot, it's a lot. If it's a little, it's a little. But don't stake your life on that money aspect.
Interesting to hear. That's just
Very interesting here. Thank you for that. We really appreciate that. So that
Yeah.
definitely can go to anything in life, no matter
Anything you do.
if you're in the sports industry or just any job. So for sure.
Yep. If you
So-
make life about the money, it will eat you up and you'll never have peace because you always want more.
Wow. No, that's definitely 100% accurate, I would say. Definitely. But sadly, we're going to now go into the 2013 season, though, with the interview because you guys did lose in the playoffs. But you did win another division title. But then, unfortunately, you had to retire from the game due to injuries and surgeries. Now, Mr. Dirks, were the injuries too difficult to overcome, and that's why you had to retire?
Yeah, pretty much. So I had my first back surgery in 14. I had sciatic nerve pain, so herniated disc.
Yeah.
And I waited way too long. I'd had that since high school, off and on. And then accumulation of over time, just beating on it. I went in, finally got the surgery, came out of it. The nerve was already damaged and messed up pretty bad. Tried to come back. My body never reacted well at all. I couldn't move quick. And in baseball, you got to move quick. Did the second surgery 15. And after that one, I have 20% of my disc left. I just could never get my body back in a position where it would function properly. And to this day, I don't play softball, swing clubs. I don't go golfing or any of that, right? Because my hips and my back and nerves and all that stuff were so jacked up.
That's unfortunate because you retired. You retired pretty young, and it just it sucks that you can't go golfing or do anything like leisurely like that. So, but now in your post baseball life, you're a realtor. Tell us how you got into that. Did you major in something like that at Wichita State? Tell us how you got into it.
No, I basically bought a house in Kansas, and I was getting ready to get out of baseball after my second one, and I needed to do something. So the lady said, "Have you ever thought about real estate?" I said, "I think everybody thinks about real estate." So I jumped in it and went after it, and it became my new career. I'm not a guy that sits on my hands or dwells on things, It's like, that one's over. That was great. That was fun. Now let's do the next one.
On to the next adventure, right?
Absolutely. You got it.
Absolutely.
Keep looking on ahead. So,
always looking ahead.
Oh, definitely. Always got to look ahead. So, last question for you, Mr. Dirks. You just said that you can't, do anything like swing clubs or, golfing or stuff like that. But do you do anything else, baseball related, like camps or coaching besides being a realtor?
Not a whole lot. I did for a while. I was doing some mental training because on the physical side, there's a lot of guys that are good at skills and drills. But I know that what separates a person's between the ears, but there's really not a market for it. So I kind of got out of that, but I did a couple radio broadcasts last year for the Tigers, which was fun. But other than that, if I'll give people tips, they hit me on Facebook, say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Okay. Yeah. But as far as coaching, it's never been a huge passion of mine.
Interesting to hear. And now I have one more. I have one question personally. With everything that's going on around baseball, what do you think of the overall plan that they just passed to try and get a season started? Do you think it'll be successful in their attempt to try and play a shortened, reduced season?
Yeah, it's just going to be a wing it type of year. Go out, get some baseball in for the fans. It's the only chance the Tigers have to make the playoffs. Shortened season.
Yeah, True. That's very accurate.
Go to the playoffs, possibly. It's the only chance I think we would have to make it. So I think it'll be fun for the fans. It's more about the cities. Let the players get out and play. Yeah. With all the craziness that's going on, I think it's good.
Do you think an asterisk should be put next to the champion who?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not a full season. This game that's why it's such a long season.
Right, it's 60 games. It's not.
The team gets hot. The Tigers could win, and are they the best team in baseball? No, not even close.
No.
So, but we'll see how it plays out. It'll be interesting to see if the top teams are the ones that are in the playoffs or not.
Yeah, because it's definitely going to be a different type of feel seeing it. 60 games as opposed to what you guys played, 182, plus the postseason, which could add on probably 15 to 20 extra games depending on how far you go in the postseason. So, I mean, you guys played almost 200 games a year when you guys were making those playoff runs.
Absolutely.
In the World Series, and compared to 60, it'll be interesting to see how they do, see how the NBA does with their reduced season. Hopefully football will be able to start on time. Because if there's no football, I tell you, people around Michigan are going to go.
That's why the world's going crazy, because there's no sports right now.
Yeah, we've been saying.
Back and everybody chill out for a second.
Yeah, that's what we've been. That's what we've been
that's
saying.
Pretty accurate.
I've always said people need three things. Sunshine. Air, water, and they need sports. They just need things to make them happy, right?
Something to distract them. That's right. Something to look forward to.
So, and that's all we got for you, Andy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
today.
guys.
We definitely appreciate your time, and we hope to hear from you soon. And please take care of yourself and your wife and your four beautiful kids. So,
will do. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah. You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Man, what a great interview once again. I mean, we've had baseball players on Kevin Watley, Kyle Allegas, Jimmy Latona, in person in studio 2 seasons ago. But, those guys are just starting to hit their peak, right? Mm-hmm. After Kyle was on with us, he signed with the Colorado Rockies. Andy, got to see one of the best pitching rotations in baseball, with the Tigers in 2012, going to the World Series, winning the AL pennant, having that beautiful looking ring. Man, that ring is absolutely beautiful to look at.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever see something like that again with my own eyes that close.
Oh, yeah.
Just over a camera, so.
I mean, just, I've seen Benny Fowler's Super Bowl ring and hit, comparing the two. I mean, it's pretty close. So, I mean, great interview once again. And again, please make sure to subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media. We're trying to start up an IGTV, so if you can, try head on over to that. If you can't watch it on YouTube, head on over there. And that will do it for our 4th of July kind of special, if you will. Happy 4th of July to everybody out there. We will be back next
week. Stay safe, for sure.
Yeah, stay safe. We're not just talking COVID. Stay safe. Fireworks, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Stay safe with that. That too. We got to say that as well. So until we see you next week, as always, keep it fresh.